In this lesson, we're going to use the gasket design to go over geometric construction and editing tools. We're going to go over drawing setup, how to use the ortho option, how to use the extend command, and how to use the trim command. Many of the basic skills acquired in board drafting can also be applied to a computer system. For example, the geometric construction techniques that are typically used in board drafting can also be used in AutoCAD. The main difference between using a CAD system over the traditional board drafting is the ability to create and modify geometric entities very quickly and accurately. As it was illustrated in the previous lessons, a variety of object construction and editing tools which are available in AutoCAD are fairly easy to use. It is important to emphasize that a good understanding of the geometric construction fundamentals remains the most important part of using a CAD system. The application of the basic geometric construction techniques is one of the main tasks in using a CAD system. We're going to examine more of the geometric construction and editing tools provided by AutoCAD. We are going to be drawing the sketch shown. The first thing that we need to do before creating the first geometric entity, the value of the units within the CAD system should be determined. For example, in one drawing, a unit might equal 1 millimeter of a real-world object. In another drawing, a unit might equal an inch. The unit type and number of decimal places for object lengths and angles can be set through the units command. These drawing unit settings control how AutoCAD interprets the coordinate and angle entries and how it displays coordinates and units in the status bar and in the dialog box. To set this, we can go to the Application menu, go to the Drawing Utilities, and go to Units, or we can go to the Format bar and go down here to Units. In the Drawing Units dialog box, we want to set the length type to decimal, which it already is. This is the default measurement to English units or inches. We want to set the precision to 2 digits. Once we've done that, leave everything else the same and select OK. We're now going to set up the grid and snap intervals. To do this, we want to go to the Tools and then Drafting Settings. Another method for getting there is to go down here and select your snap settings, and it will take you there as well. Once we're in the Drafting Settings dialog box, we want to make sure we go to the Snap and Grid tab. We want to change the grid spacing to 1 unit for both the X and the Y directions. We want to switch on the Grid On and Snap On options, and then we select OK. Notice that we now have a grid on our drawing window. That grid is spaced at 1 unit. We now want to zoom extends our drawing window. We can go up here to View, go to Zoom, and go to Zoom Extends. Or we could go over here to our toolbar and hit Zoom Extends as well, and it would also do that for us. I want you to quickly look down in the status bar and notice that the grid and snap options are both blue, indicating that they are switched on. Currently the grid spacing is set to 1 inch and the snap interval is set to 0.5. To start our drawing, we're going to use the line command and we're going to use the ortho option for drawing lines. First thing we do is select the line command or type L. And then notice in the command line it says specify first point. If you look at the coordinates down at the bottom, you're going to see that we're at 7.5, 3.5 at the moment. You can move to coordinates 4, 6 in the world coordinate system and notice how it's snapping. So 4, 6, right there. So we're at the correct coordinates. Again, because we have snap on, it's going to snap to every half unit. Hence the reason we can be as accurate as we can. If I left click there, it'll actually start my line. Notice that my line has started and I'm snapping to coordinates. We're next going to turn on the ortho option by toggling this button at the bottom. You can click it, and notice now it will only move horizontally or vertically from the line or the point that we selected first. The ortho option constrains cursor movement to the horizontal or vertical directions relative to the current coordinate system. With the line command, we are now restricted to creating only horizontal or vertical lines with the ortho option. We want to move the graphics cursor below the last point we selected on the screen and create a vertical line that is 2 units long. So the y coordinate would end up being 4. We're going to then go to the right of that particular point, and we're going to create a horizontal line that is 1 unit long. And then we're going to go and move that below there and make a 2.5 unit long line. Okay, the y coordinate being then 1.5. Notice in the bottom. We're going to then turn off the snap option in the status bar area. Notice that I am now no longer snapping to a point. I need to create a line that is around 7 units long, so near the x coordinate of 12. As it is quite common during the initial design stage, we might not always know what all the dimensions are at the beginning. Now I'm going to finish drawing this particular line by right-clicking and hitting enter, and it finishes that command. In the status bar area, we want to reset the option button so that only the grid display and ortho modes are switched on. We want to go ahead and do the line command again. So to do that, one of the things we can do is right-click and repeat our last command. In this particular instance, it was repeat line, so I can select that and repeat line. It's going to ask us to specify the first point. To do that, we're going to use an object snap. Object snaps are extremely powerful construction tools available in most CAD systems. During an entity's creation operations, we can snap the cursor to points on objects such as endpoints, midpoints, centers, and intersections. For example, we can quickly draw a line to the center of a circle, to the midpoint of a line segment, or to the intersection of two lines. As you can see, we already have our Object Snap toolbar open. In the Object Snap toolbar, we want to snap to an endpoint. That would be this icon here. AutoCAD now expects us to select a geometric entity on the screen. The Snap to Endpoint option allows us to snap to the closest endpoint of objects such as lines or arcs. AutoCAD uses the midpoint of the entity to determine which end to snap to. So we want to pick the top left vertical line by selecting a location above the midpoint of the line. Notice that even if I'm way down here, it's still going to want to snap up to where the green box is at. I'm going to go ahead and move my cursor to the right of the point that I selected and create a horizontal line that is about 3 units long. Inside the drawing area, I'm going to right click and hit enter and complete the line command. The next thing I want to do is select the circle radius command icon. So I'm going to go up here to circle, do center radius. In the status bar area, I want to switch on the snap option. I want to move the cursor to the world coordinates of 11.5, 6. So notice I'm at 9. I'm going to go over here to 11.5 and then go up to 6. That's the center of my circle. I want to move the graphics cursor to the world coordinates of 13.6 and left click at this particular location. I've now created a circle that is exactly the diameter that I want. I will now select the line command icon in the draw toolbar. I want to move the cursor to the world coordinates of 11, 1.5. Position my first point right there. And then I want to pick snap to tangent on the object snap toolbar. AutoCAD now expects us to select a circle or an arc on the screen. The Snap to Tangent option allows us to snap to the point on a circle or arc that when connected to the last point forms a line tangent to that option. I want to pick a location anywhere on the right side of the circle and create the line tangent to the circle. Right click and press enter to end the command. I'm now going to switch off all of the buttons down here. To complete the next portion of the drawing, I'm going to use the extend command. The extend command lengthens an object so that it ends precisely at a selected boundary. To do that, I'm going to go up here to the modify panel and trim drop down. I'm going to see that there is an extend. Select that. First, we will select the objects that define the boundary edges to which we want to extend the object. In this case, it's going to be the circle. So I pick the circle as a boundary edge. Then I'm going to right click and it gives me the option to then extend objects to whatever that boundary object was. I'm going to select the line that is drawn at the top of this drawing and click it. And you'll see that that line has now extended to that boundary object. When I'm done with that, I'm going to right click and select enter. Now I get to use the trim command to shorten an object so that it ends precisely at a selected boundary. Much like I did for the extend, I'm going to go up to the modify panel, go up here and select trim. And in the command line, you're going to see select objects or select all. I'm going to go ahead and select this top horizontal line and this angled line as the boundaries to where I want to trim to. When I'm done with that, I can right click, and now it's going to ask me to select the object to trim away. Notice as I hover over the bottom part of this circle, it goes gray to let me know that that will be the expected outcome once I select it. I will pick the bottom of the circle, and it will trim that piece away between the two boundary objects that I selected. Once I'm done, I can right click and hit enter, and it will end that trim command. Another option within AutoCAD is that we can use the extend command or the trim command for trimming or extending an object when in the other command. For example, when we're using the extend command, we can select an object to extend or hold down shift and select an option to trim. As an example of this, I'm going to go to the extend command, and it says select objects or select all. I'm going to select this as my boundary object, enter, then I'm going to hit shift and trim this away. Even though I was in the extend command, I can still trim. Right click, hit enter, and it ends the command.